What the hell? This is your 20-second sexy warning. You gotta stop being sexy now. Sexy. Just remember that today we're gonna be talking. Trust me, that's all right. Trust me. Those see mic's cutting off. Just going. Sensitivity higher. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, we switched to Windows. So get your seats. Remember, if you want. Remember, those nuts are not the type that you put in your mouth. There you go. Sounds good. All right. There. All right, guys, what's going on? How is everyone today? I'm glad to see you guys. It has been a rough start. I will give you that. Today is just we're gonna be talking about some real shit. It's gonna get difficult in here. I overslept first, so that's on me. Just want to put out there, and I take full responsibility. I did not put up the subjects and topics today. The articles for them because they're of such a sensitive nature. I feel it would have turned some people off from tuning on in. So get ready. Gonna be a doozy. It's gonna be a doozy. Ethel, grab me my Bible. Type of stuff. It's craziness. The red wave is coming, and Democrats are trying their best to shape the narrative. Can you guys see this? Is it live? Can someone chat at all? Let me know. Did we break my chat? There we go. All right. Bingo Bango, welcome to the show. Absolutely. Thank you, Slim. I appreciate you. That reminds me, I need to hop in the voice channel. Yeah, there we go. All right, guys. So Jim Seals of Seals Croft died 80 years old. Bummer. Yeah, it's live. Awesome. Hey, LJ. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Northern. Yeah. What's up, Jay Builds? Thank you for joining us, man.
I don't hear you.
Oh, you don't hear me, Tobias?
Wait a minute, I must fix my audio.
Hey, we have our Australian brother from another mother and father here. There we go.
And now I hear you.
Okay, there we go. That's beautiful. All right, guys. So, yeah, it's been crazy. Yo, Tobias, did you? I tagged you. I'm sorry, I had to. Did you see the Burger King thing, dude?
What? No.
You didn't see the Burger King thing? So,
Didn't.
Burger King Austria apparently has a gay burger, a gay pride burger.
Okay.
And I tagged you guys to go, and I needed one of you to choose the tops and the bottom. So really, that's made with just tops or just bottoms. I guess someone didn't think about this, okay? Of the buns. And I'm not making this up. I swear to God, it's a real fucking thing. Okay?
I mean,
It's like, I need you and him to figure out who's the top and who's the bottom and get them and let me know. One, do they taste any different? And two, do you feel a little bit more gay after you eat them? That was it. It was a joke, but yeah, good.
I believe it's a true thing, but I'm never at Burger King, so I wouldn't even know where the next Burger King is.
Their food is horrible. Absolutely, it was more of a joke.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure neither one of you actually did it. That was it.
I didn't hear about it.
There you go. So, oh man, I forgot to fill up my cup. Son of a bitch. Guys, I upgraded to Windows 11 today. It's been a struggle. I was literally up until the last minute. The sound did not work like 3 seconds before I started the stream. So, it was definitely a technically trying time. But I've been in a much better mood overall. It's just I haven't been sleeping very well, and I apologize, guys, and that's not your fault. I'm going to try to be more consistent on my time because, as someone said, consistency is key to the algorithm. So yeah, the floor is yours, J Builds. No, Jim. See, yeah, and we can't have two Jims. So he's J, you're Jim, and we got LJ. So she's L, and you know, Slim is just Slim, and Tobias is. So what's going on today, man? What brings you on in? You just bored?
Yeah. Also, I'm skipping to school tomorrow because I have a test tomorrow that I didn't learn for because I put all my energy in the test that I had today. So I have time. It's 2 a.m. right now.
Jay, we're gonna address some of the stuff with China too. Today is not gonna be a pretty day for our Democrats, and it doesn't matter if it was the Republicans or the Democrats doing this. I would hang both of them for what they're doing. And I'm gonna show you some of the news that we've been too distracted by actors and other things to pay attention to, and sort of people have been talking about how a lot of this news feels like a distraction. I'm going to show you why it's distraction. And the red wave that's coming is pretty much the Democrats are doing anything they can, and they are desperate enough to do really underhanded things, and I'll show you that today. And that's going to be a major part of our conversation. I do need to grab a drink because, unfortunately, unlike other podcast shows, I don't have an assistant to do that. So known as the wife or significant other. You know, I don't want to be sexist. Anyways, I'm gonna be very raw and edgy today, but don't take me personal. I love all y'all. So, anyways, what's up, Dusel? Welcome for joining us, brother. Thank you. How's it going?
Good. Just had a busy day, so I got on a little late there.
Put down. All right.
That's very good.
No, you're fine. I just gotta watch my sound levels and make sure we don't blast everyone's ears off. So there you go. Northern Lights, I'll be your assistant. Hey, man, you know. Enough with that gay shit. If you guys don't get being a little bit comedic, I finally am feeling a lot more like me. I appreciate all of you guys. Hey.
Yeah, you're sounding.
Ethel, grab me my Bible. Ethel. Sorry, y'all. Inside joke. We were one morning. We were sitting inside a voice. It was me, Northern Lights, and Luna, and we all have. There's always that one guy, right? Who's like super Southern Baptist and like has his comfy chair. It's like, Johnny Depp had me feeling a little gay. It's okay. Kept it strong in the power of Christ. And he's feeling it though. He's watching the TV. He's like, oh shit, I'm feeling gay. Ethel, grab me my Bible. So, oh man, I'm peeking on my my mic there. Let me turn the gain down on my. All right. My noise gate is fucked up after transitioning to Windows 11, so you guys are gonna have to forgive me. I apologize for probably busting a few people's eardrums there. So that was not on purpose. By the way, big shout out to Jim. Jim called me, so I actually woke the fuck up, and it was literally moments right before my phone died. So the reason why we're having a podcast tonight is because of that man right there. So you guys, a big round of applause to Jim W in the chat. Also in our Discord. He is the reason why we're having a podcast tonight. So my ass did not wake up to my alarm. I apparently cut my alarm off, shook my phone 30 times, and went the fuck back to sleep. Not sure how that happened. So I appreciate Jim especially. So guys, I'm gonna take a real quick break. Before I do that though, I just gotta grab some ice, some water, and I got food. Hey, I got food. It's positive. It's a positive. So yeah, Jim, the savior of all of the show. But yeah, guys, make sure you join our Discord. You can use !Discord in the chat to see the Discord. It's a great community. You get to be part of the round table, just like these guys are right here. And can participate in the conversation if you want to, or just be in the chat inside of our general chat or other things and have newsy or non-newsy discussions. We also have a Minecraft server. Check that out. You join our gaming channels and you'll see that there. Join our Minecraft, build some cool shit, and if you cheat, I'll kick you. So there we go. I might have disabled the commands. Oh, nope, there we go. Beautiful. Streamlabs doing its thing. Thank you, Northern, for that example. So, guys, give me 1 second. I do have to grab some water. I am dying of cotton mouth because they have me on some heavy narcotic medications, unfortunately, because I have a kidney stone, and them shits is no joke. So I will be right back. And then we're going to talk with our Austrian brother from another mother. Get back to it. Let's get back to it. All right, Austrian brother from another mother. What's up? What's on your mind, man? What's going on in your media over there?
The thing Pure Yoga told me about you getting banned from YouTube or something. What's up with that?
Oh, someone decided to apparently that night we got 4,000 views.
Like for real, or was it a bug?
No, we got 4,000 views for real in a night. 3,400 of them came from part of the podcast where apparently I got mentioned on a pro Amber Heard I guess Telegram or TikTok, right? And so basically I got swarmed by a bunch of her fans, but also people who were wondering why I was being mentioned on there. Some weren't like hardcore Amber Heard fans. And also I got contacted by our 2 right-wing media people right after this happened because I got mentioned. Apparently I got reported for hateful and hateful content and hate speech. by about 300 people. And then the person who reviewed it, I wouldn't be unbanned right now if it wasn't for knowing someone at Google. That's what I would say.
Basically, you got mass flagged.
I got mass flagged, and then the person who did the review was clearly biased. Apparently, my comments on sex and gender are separate, and that I disagree with biological men who were not suppressed on hormones when they went into puberty, because that's the only way to stop it, which I also think is a problem. Participating in women's sports is dangerous and unfair. If you take it in the lightest case, it's unfair, and in the harshest case, it's unsafe. And I think that makes you lose part of that. I don't think that removing that is healthy or safety in the American society, because again, we have to look at the society we're talking about, culture, not just.
Usually I wouldn't care about that, but because I'm really into sports, yeah, I agree.
Well, you look at it in most athletic sports, men who are down 100 and down in like the 400, 500 area of men's sports can easily dominate women's sports, and it's just a problem.
I know. I'm an athlete. I really know.
Yeah. I mean, there's things of like a 65-year-old pro soccer player playing against an entire team of collegiate soccer players, and we're just not going to go into it tonight. But basically, the person that reviewed my video found that content was hateful. On manual review, which I got sped up because I was like, yo, man, like I didn't do anything. Like, what's the deal? He was like, I'll have a look at it, and he flagged it as high priority. So, I got unbanned literally the next day. I was so hot, man. I was so mad because I have a lawyer who's been itching to sue YouTube. So, I was so it was interesting. Give me 1 second. I need to change my advanced audio properties. I have a low pass and high pass filter on this, and I need to turn it off. Apparently, it's different here in the world of Windows 11. Damn. All right. Well, give me 1 second. Filters. All right, you guys are probably going to be able to hear me breathing again, but I can't deal with the I can't deal with how how it's taking off my how it's addressing my microphone is just weird. All right, there we go. Beautiful. Sexual chocolate. Oh yeah. Anyway, sorry guys. Is that better? Is my mic better? I think it is. Now we turn up the gain a little bit. Turn up the gain a little bit. There we go. All right. Hey, my microphone's fixed. Go figure. The struggles of Windows 11. Shim is having some window. Go ahead. What's up? Tobias, were you saying something?
No.
Oh, okay. Anyone else switch over to Windows 11?
Nope. Mine doesn't have no space.
My brother did on accident because he was stoned.
Your brother did on accident because he was stoned?
Yeah.
All right. We'll have to have that conversation sometime.
14.
Man, all of the audio is off, so we're gonna get this right live. All right, so on to things that are a little hard to get into tonight, guys. So let's talk about our main subject of the night, and then we're gonna end up on the gay burger. That's what we're gonna end up the day on because it's funny, it's cool, and it's just meant to be hilarious. But we'll talk about that later. Apparently, some Austrian marketing person at Burger King Austria decided they were going to make a Pride burger, and the memes and hilarity that ensued from poor judgment, and it doesn't matter what side of the debate you're on. They literally found the memes on a forum that a lot of my gay friends are on. That is a LGBTQ like community. Okay, that's actually where I got the memes from because someone sent it to me and they found it hilarious. So, man.
Why do you know about that? I don't.
Did you Google it yet?
No.
That's so weird. Like the person or Tobias is from Australia, right?
He's from Austria, yeah. He's from Austria,
yeah. Yeah, and so like Europe is closer to where it happened, and he doesn't hear about it, but we on the other side of the world do before he does.
Yeah, Burger King Austria's new Pride Whopper is causing controversy, and then
Just
like
goes to
the
show about
creative blog was
yesterday.
just like Pride Whopper ad, and then Burger King has a Pride Whopper with 2 equal buns in Austria.
Wow, I see
Yo.
now.
Yo, it's crazy. Yo, I don't know. He was like some Austrian in marketing at Burger King was like, "Das ist good idea." Like Pfaffennuken, which is a horrible word here in America. We will create new Volkswagen car called Hitler. No, let me take that. I'm not trying to compare the two. I'm just saying like marketing mistakes 101. Like their job is done. You're right. You actually are correct. But we're not talking about it in a positive way. We're making fun of it. I'm not sure all good press is. I'm not sure all press is good press. So we'll see. Maybe. It's valid. It's valid. Two bottoms are gonna have an interesting time. You're gonna have a bad time unless you're. Well, I mean, it all depends. I was doing some research after having them underlying emotions the other day before I got called Ethel and had her bring me my Bible, and it depends. I mean, sometimes if you're a bottom, you can switch, but power bottoms don't. So it's all about how you feel. Exactly, Tarkin. You need a top and a bottom. Why are we having this conversation? And it sounds so wrong, but we're talking about hamburger buns. Like, yo, I'm over here dying. This struggle is real. Gotta compose myself, man. This is great. Let me switch over. We'll go ahead and move to solo while watching. And transition. By the way, guys, I'm using my touchscreen as it's supposed to be used, and keeping things in the appropriate aspect on my other monitor is kind of difficult, but we are working on it. We are kind of working on it. So, all right. This is it. Oh, man. Spoon, baby, spoon. I put the pics in. You did? You put the pics in? All right. Well, today in other news, but this is what we're talking about, by the way, guys. It's the hilarity that ensued. Here, I need to fix my web browser source so that way it's formatted for not YouTube. There we go. We're gonna just keep the bar out still, and there we go. Boom, 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 boom. So we're patching this up live on stream. Gosh, I'm dying. I need someone to ship it to me. I don't know. I don't know anyone in Austria who could ship you a burger. I think it's kind of illegal to send food through the mail. I'm not sure. Perishable food. I want to test that north. I want to eat food from random sources either. So
I think it would be illegal, but It's going bad.
Yeah.
I think it's going bad. I mean, unless you want a 3-day-old burger that has been into mail without cooling or anything, go on.
I think he just wants it because he wants to like preserve it. I don't think he wants to eat it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
How do you preserve a burger?
Oh, have you not seen the McDonald's burger that's like 9 years old and still in perfect condition?
No, it's longer than that. I think it's
Yeah, I
in
think it's
Norway, isn't it?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's in Norway. I think it's ridiculous.
They mummify a burger?
Yeah. So hold on.
Because
McDonald's.
they don't have McDonald's anymore. So the last burger they made, they kept it in like a case.
Yeah, they literally or example, woman finds perfectly preserved McDonald's burger in wardrobe
In the-
5 years after buying it.
Yeah. The bag was from like the 60s, I think.
Yeah. Oldest McDonald's burger. Let me. Purchased a hamburger at McDonald's on July 7th, 1999, and it still remains intact. He calls it the world's oldest hamburger. Utah. Yeah. Man, well, how did we end up on this? We're supposed to be talking about serious political discussion, and we're over here talking about an ancient burger. Anyways, yeah, that's the thing, bro. He actually wants to eat it, though. I don't know, man. Austria's new Pride Whopper is causing controversy. Burger King Austria's new Pride Month campaign is either top notch or bottom of the barrel, depending on who you ask. Oh my god, more bottom and top puns. What the fuck is going on? what is going on here? I don't know. I don't know. All right. Let's see. The idea of using equal buns on each Pride Whopper, according to Burger King Austria, is representative of equal love and equal rights. The company explained on Instagram. Of course, this doesn't just mean same-sex love. BK Austria added on its official Pride Whopper webpage. Wait, what? What? Hold on. What? Hold on. We got. Okay. They gave it its own. Okay, so I guess AT.AT is the Austria. I'm gonna have to translate this from German. You know what? I'm gonna use the shortcut and not try to butcher a language here. So, translate to English.
You want me to do it?
Oh yeah, sure. Hey, we got an Austrian here. Or let me know if you can see that. So.
No, I'm not watching the stream because the audio is in sync.
Oh yeah, got you. Let me. I'll use the OBS camera. Hold on. So guys, we have this great tool that's called the virtual cam, and when we start the virtual cam, I can come over here and I can actually show the guys in my VC the actual stream. Yeah, and that's the thing. So here we go, and we select OBS camera, and we go boom. All right, there we go.
Oh, be proud. It's English. What do you want?
No, I translated it on accident. Hold on, let me refresh it. June is Pride Month. In this wonderful. Oh, it's off. Never mind. That's phrasing. There you go. June is Pride Month was about the only accurate part.
God. June is Pride Month. In this wonderful month, we celebrate the LGBT plus community, their freedoms and
If you want, here, I'll just send you the link. Maybe it'll probably be easier for you to read off your computer screen.
Ah, fuck it. Do your translate magic.
There you go. All right. Translate the English. In this wonderful month, the LGBT community celebrates their freedom and works for recognition and equality in society. We at Burger King Austria send a clear signal of equal love and rights. For this reason, we are celebrating together with the community. Has come up with a special campaign for the Pride Whopper. Pride Whopper with 2 identical buns for equal love and equal rights. You can choose 2 tops or 2 bottoms. You can be a top or a bottom. It's just like, what? All right, so hold on. We're getting lots of chat. Want to keep up with that. But, guys, give me a second. I'll catch up on that. I apologize. I'm not ignoring you. It's just this is kind of fucking hilarious. Oh, Lord Jesus. Let's go to docs. Scene collection. Docs. Chat. There we go. Anyone selling a pet goat? Oh, what's up, Jet Black? Welcome. Pet goat, no goats, sheep, and they're all mine. Oh, why are you guys? We've got to get serious. After this was supposed to be saved for like the lighthearted part of like the last part of our stream, not for the first part. This is supposed to be back here at the very end of all this really serious shit. All right. Anyways, oh man, you guys got me. All right, guys. So we're gonna talk about what's going on in the world. There's clearly become a double standard between those in power and those who don't have it. And I started looking at this when we were being distracted in the press. And for those who don't know, Nancy Pelosi's husband decided to drive his Porsche drunk as fuck, almost twice the legal limit apparently, allegedly. And though he's on video and they breathalyzed him and they did blood work. Now, normally when you get booked into jail, which you go to if you get into a wreck and you're drunk as fuck in your Porsche 911, GT3, this motherfucker wrecked a great car. I'm so mad at this. You guys understand, the car he was driving is $500,000. The car he was driving was $500,000. I hate this man. Okay. So they secretly doing surveys on you to see who was a top and who was a bot. We're still on this. Oh Lord Jesus. There's a fire. All right, so we're gonna frame this up a little bit, but guys, it's just this is insanity. Okay. This man, usually when you get arrested, your mugshot is up on the LA County or the San Francisco County jail site within 24 hours. Anyways, the problem is that Paul Pelosi's mugshot is still being withheld for some reason. He's been charged with 3 different crimes, 1 a felony. And for some reason, his mugshot is being withheld. So basically, it's like a member of the California royal family of Democrats gets arrested by Highway Patrol, charged with 3 crimes, including a felony, and then the next day, all the evidence of his arrest vanishes. The police reports are not available now. The mugshot was not put up on the website. It was like it's supposed to, and everyone else's is. That's part of the American public. And it's being spun as no one's covering it. There's no coverage at all about how Nancy Pelosi's husband is getting special treatment in California and by the Highway Patrol and other people. And it's odd. She's the Speaker of the House, and apparently none of the rules that apply to normal people are applying to her husband. And is that related to her being Speaker of the House? Might be a little bit, right? So I started looking into this. They're right. I'm not going to get deep into it because I think that it's a minor issue, but it's just showing the disconnect in the rest of the world of what's going on around us. Like, we're not paying attention to things that clearly are off and where people are getting special treatment, but also the panic that is being ensued by the Democrats. And when I talk about the panic that's being ensued by the Democrats, Janet Yellen a few weeks ago was talking about how she didn't expect inflation to rise much and they were taking strong steps and everything's going to be just fine. And she waited for the news cycle to change where they weren't going to talk about it if she said something different in Congress. And I want to show you what Janet Yellen said yesterday. All right. And thank you to the New York Post for posting this because no other place did. And after that, some other more right wing sides picked it up, but it's mostly covered by right wing media at the moment. But here's Janet Yellen. Now, it's evened out in the next few days because they got called out. But Janet Yellen now says that there are unacceptable levels of inflation in the U.S. and they're going to be taking strong steps to correct it. Okay? So, I love Tarkin's. What? Is this guy trolling? I don't know. Probably best to send the rapper on use. Oh, you guys are still talking about the damn burger. What the fuck? I should have saved it till the end. Damn it, but I couldn't pass up. There's an Austrian here, and I'm like, it's an Austrian thing. The memes were dank as shit. I'm not gonna lie. So, so we're sitting here, we're having the Treasury Secretary tell us there are unacceptable levels of inflation that are worrisome and could crash our entire economy. And no one's running it on headline news. There is no headline news covering this except for places that don't have a fucking news channel. It's insane. Right? And then you have mass coverage in the media of the second suspect arrested in the Philadelphia mass shooting. I'm like, well, this was not really a mass shooting. This was a shootout between two gangs. So it's kind of bending the term because before the left media wanted to leave out gang shootings and they're not counted in FBI statistics and they're not counted as mass shootings, especially when they're between multiple assailants. So yeah, it's insane. At least 5 guns were fired. It seems that 4 people were involved in the shooting at least, if not 5. Oh, Jet Black's not a troll. Okay, cool. I'm just making sure. I didn't know. Welcome, though, man. You're greatly appreciated being here, dude. But this is the. Okay. But this is the dilemma we're in. We're looking at this and we're like, so charges are expected to be approved, blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't matter because when we're looking at the bias, so the Daily Beast was the first one to start covering this and other left-wing media outlets picked it up. The right has sort of countered it like, hey, how all of a sudden it becomes fruitful to you? So why are they all of a sudden just going with this mass narrative of all these mass shootings? There's a problem here. And it's because they're worried about the upcoming election and they found something that sticks with people's heartstrings. And so now all these gangland shootings that they didn't give a shit about before, they're now reporting on. But the problem is that they're Philadelphia. Guys, you know how long Philadelphia has been in Democratic hands? You guys know how long Philadelphia has been a blue and has been in a blue state?
Long time.
51 years. For 51 years, Democrats have controlled Philadelphia. All right. And for 32, they have controlled. Sorry. I apologize. Excuse me, guys. And for 32 years, they've controlled Pennsylvania. I had to make sure before I said so. So let's talk about the problem that they're going to run into, and if the Republicans and centrists and people who are independent or smart are going to pay attention to. They're talking about banning guns and banning magazines and all this stuff, guys. You are 9 times more likely to be murdered in Baltimore than you are in Florida. Choose any city in Florida. You are 9 times more likely to be murdered in Baltimore than you are in Miami. You are 9 times more likely to be murdered in Baltimore than you are in Houston, Texas, or in Dallas, Texas. Huh?
What's Baltimore?
So Baltimore, Maryland is so Maryland and Virginia are right next to DC. So DC sits in the middle of Baltimore, in middle of Maryland and Virginia. And Baltimore is one of the largest cities in the United States. It's a major metropolitan area. It's a very large city considering the small amount of square meters it takes up, right? So, and it's been a Democratic city. So Maryland itself has been controlled by Democrats, and Baltimore specifically has been controlled by Democrats for almost 60 years. And it's and it has the highest murder rate in America. And I'm getting there. So the argument is that so Baltimore versus Florida or Texas has magazine limits, has heavy control on firearms. So, I think he's trolling, man. I don't know. I'm ignoring it. So it has heavy control on firearms, has all that good stuff, and they have a 900% increase over two of the most lax states in gun control. And like Houston is bigger, Dallas is bigger than Baltimore, but Houston is equivalent. Dallas is much larger. Dallas is one of the largest cities in the United States, guys. But at the end of the day, they're 900%, and they have some of the toughest gun laws in. Okay, you're 7 times more likely to be murdered in Chicago. Guess what? You're not allowed to carry in Chicago. Guess what? No normal person is allowed. Very few civilians are allowed to carry firearms or even legally possess them in Chicago. You're 7 times more likely to be murdered in Chicago. 5 times if you count the statistic of a 6-year running average. But anyways,
well, I could do the same with international states.
Okay, if you eliminate so here's the next thing. If you eliminate Baltimore, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, all right, from the numbers, and what's the other one? Detroit, from the numbers, those 5 cities, we actually are comparative to the rest of the world in number of gun violence deaths. So I was looking at statistics. I'll provide the sources after the show. I'm going to create a sources channel so we don't get banned on YouTube. But the numbers pan out that if we remove 5 major metropolitan areas, that we basically become even to the rest of the world in gun violence and guns per capita. Because what matters is how many guns are available to the public and how many gun violence incidents happen. And when you appropriately do the data, we are equivalent to them when you remove 5 cities. You know what the problem with these 5 cities are? I'll just give you a guess. Anybody want to take a guess at what the problem with these 5 cities and the 5 states they're in is?
They're in the US.
No. Oh, I'm sorry for the Austrian dude. He's I love Yutsabitis. I do. You
can't tell.
Yeah, it's just they're all big big liberal cities, and they're in liberal controlled states and liberal controlled cities. And if liberals are supposedly so anti-racist, then how come? And all of this gun violence is based around racism or racial oppression. Is it happening in cities and states you've controlled for decades?
So first of all, go out and bash on the liberals. No one likes the liberals. And second of all, I don't think
it's very restrictive gun laws is the other thing. New York has the most restrictive gun laws in the United States. You are 5.5 times more likely to be shot and killed there than you are in Houston, Texas, which has some of the most relaxed gun laws in America. If you look at Richmond, Virginia, where constitutional carry is approved, you can conceal carry in Virginia, by the way. If you look at Richmond, Virginia, you are 6 times less likely to be murdered than in New York. So it's very interesting. Yeah, it's Northern Lights entirely. Yeah, they have very restrictive gun laws, and there are big liberal cities that have been in that are also in big liberal states that have been controlled by liberals and progressives for a very long time, and so this idea of somehow gun control is magically going to make these things stop happening. Well, gun control hasn't worked in the cities and the states that you've been lead of, because you can't take away from, but you can add to the rights in your specific state. That's how states work. Anyways, so yeah, it's insane. But anyways, so I'm looking at this, and they're pushing this narrative, and now they're covering shootings they normally wouldn't cover that are gangland shootings. They're not the typical definition of mass shooting where it's one person who starts shooting multiple people. This is two gangs had a shootout in the middle of public. Okay? And what did Northern Lights say that so we just removed those cities IRL, not joking. I don't you can't remove the largest cities in America, Northern. It's not how that works. I think we need to focus on the policies and if they've been effective when we've enforced them in other places. And they haven't been. Magazine restrictions have not been effective. The AR is basically banned in New York. Okay? AR-15s are basically banned in New York.
Up downloader now.
Yeah. And they have a 10-round magazine. It has to be a fixed magazine, which means they have to be like top loaded like a A1 Garand. Okay? It's fucking weird. The magazine can't be removed. It can have 10 rounds and it can't be removed. And guess what? That didn't stop the Buffalo shooter. Oh my god. Jet, I'm going to mute you. Please stop with the trolling comments coming across my screen. You're the first one I've ever seen do this. We're having serious conversations, and while I appreciate your presence, I will have my moderators start just removing your messages. I would prefer not to do that. So please stop with the Lord Jesus. I'm sorry, guys. All right, moving onward. Um, all right, so Philadelphia police on Monday, blah blah blah. But they're talking about these. But why all of a sudden are they picking up each and every? Why are they picking up each and every single shooting right now? And that's because they're trying to push a narrative because they're scared of what's coming. People are sick of being shamed and looked down on and told that they're racist or wrong or not black enough because they have different views than what the Democrats want them to have. That is not how you win favoritism, all right? And the problem is that the Democratic Party has gone so far left that they've left everyone in the center stuck on the right. And it's just insanity because this is not how you're going to win elections. By othering people, you don't win elections. You don't get friends and you don't forward a productive conversation when you other people and ostracize them because they disagree with you.
Quick side note, from my standards, the Democrats are still on the right.
God. You're also in a very, very, very liberal left-leaning country.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying from my stand.
So, and I understand that, and that's why I'm saying, like, from a, it's just an entirely different mindset, right? Like, we can't. I hate it when people try to compare countries politically because the cultural differences are intense and insane. And I mean, you gotta think we're a young country comparatively, right? Like, how long has Austro-Hungary existed?
As it exists now?
No, like over time as a culture, right? Culturally, I'm not talking about like governments change, cultures don't unless it's an invasion.
Americans are also just culturally they were Brits before, and now they're Americans.
Well, I think that because of the way that our makeup has shaped over time, I think that we're influenced by a lot of different cultures. And actually, Isaac Thomas talked about this and did a good job about it. So, but we will decline to get into more of that conversation about the culturalism of it. But it's just it's crazy. It is crazy. So it's insanity. Hey, Jet Black, I'm trying to have a serious conversation. I don't want to ban you from my. I don't want to silence you, and I don't want to ban you from. It's funny, and I get it, okay. But like, I'm trying to have a serious conversation about a serious subject. And while I appreciate dad jokes, and you're welcome to go to Discord and make them, bro, make them all day long in Discord. I need to please try to if you're going to do some textual commentary, it needs to be on at least one of the subjects we're talking about, okay, or have talked about. If you're going to make funny comments, talk about the burger thing, whatever, okay. That's one of the subjects we covered, but let's try to keep the conversation contextual if we could, man. I appreciate it. Austria does have a beautiful culture. I agree with you, J Builds. So J Builds is in Australia. Not gotta be careful how I'm pronouncing because we got the two A's really close, but be a bit more inclusive and we'll allow it, but inclusion is needed. I'm not sure. I get what you're saying, like, but that's not Austria's fault that they're more monocultural. But you're getting what I'm getting at, yeah. Like, yeah. Anyways, are you still there, man? Did
Me?
I chase you away? Yeah, there you go. You're a little bit more monocultural. You've had a stable culture, and I think we have a lot of outside influences on our culture. For example, another one that's really has a stable culture that's more conservative and Catholic that still has a lot of liberalism built into it is the Philippines, right? They're interesting too. But there's not in many countries that aren't very monocultural. It's because we're so young and because we had a lot of immigration for building of the railroads. Unfortunately, a dark part of our time of slavery, the potato famines, other things like that. Give us your weary, your weak, all that good stuff. And now illegal immigration from the southern border is also having I mean, we're just a melting pot. We don't have a very monoculture. We're made up of French and Italians and Sicilians and the British and the French and got some Spaniards in there and Portugal, Portuguese, and we're basically a melting pot of a ton of different cultures. So though our colonies were originally English controlled, they were actually made up of a large amount of settlers were actually Portuguese and Spaniards. About 30% were not British. So,
like we bought the Louisiana from the French, and then there's the Spanish also, and then the Mexicans with Texas.
Yep. Like we are, because there was the Louisiana Purchase, which was with the French. And plus, we also had there was a huge part of America that we don't talk about that was in basically indentured servitude, where you basically were enslaved, you just weren't enslaved. That existed for a long time, and that comes from the French, and that was where the Louisiana Purchase and Louisiana law. That's why Louisiana law is actually different, because they wanted to maintain indentured servitude, which was more of a French thing and had already been eliminated in most of the rest of the Americas. And that's why Louisiana actually uses French law. Pow! American history. So, anyways, but yeah, it's insanity I understand that Austria and other places are a lot more left leaning than this, but we also have entirely different cultures. We have entirely different governmental standards. We're a very young country in comparison. We're also a country that was born from very violent upheaval, um, and oppression by a foreign power, right? So self um, self governance and self determination is a really big part of our culture. It's a really big part of Americanism as a whole, and I think that it's important to remember that. Um, oh Lord Jesus!
Good God.
Thank you, Maj. You beat me to it. What is going on with my chat tonight? All right, moving forward. Oh man, this is great. All right. I'm trying to focus up. But yeah, you guys are right. It's great. Um and then we get into, and I was like, and I tied it back and I'm like, okay, so the Me Too movement is a very liberal movement. And if you look at the shilling that has been being done for Amber Heard and the rest, like today, I'll put up the today piece. So Eclectic Pop actually covered it, which they're kind of just into pop culture, and they're not pro dep, but yeah. The New York Post, TMZ, Inside Edition, Insider, they all were all painting Heard in a positive light, even though there was negative evidence. Um, this isn't about Johnny's fame or nothing like that. His case is entirely destroys the narrative that men are abusers, which they like. Oh, anyone could be abused, but no, they always use the effeminate for the victim and the non-effeminate for the attacker. Um, when it's actually statistically proven that men are more likely to be abused by their partner than women. That came out recently, a study that also didn't help them. I guess you upgraded. um, but it's insane. Pakistan is a lovely place to visit. I've actually been there. It's not bad. Um, but that's the thing. Like, it doesn't make sense why, but it does when you put it in terms of the politics. What the political movement that is behind Amber Heard, right, is very important to one party specifically when it comes to their elections. Okay? The Me Too movement is almost inclusive of far left liberals, right? Very far left liberals that some would argue lean almost onto the communal socialists, right? So that the community is more important than the individual. Those people, right? And that sacrificing an individual or two for the better of the group is better than treating everything as individuality. Um, which I disagree with, because if you're one of those two people, you're pretty much, all of a sudden your opinion changes when you're part of that group, and then you become one of the two people who are being oppressed by that group. All of a sudden, it doesn't feel so happy. I'm not going to turn off my thing about that, but yeah. So everybody was covering Heard in a positive light, even though she was clearly an abuser. I mean, the New York Times was talking about TikTok's Amber Heard hate machine. No, it wasn't TikTok that was causing the hatred of her. It was Amber Heard who was causing the hatred of her. She was a fucking abuser. She abused Johnny Depp. Period. But what is problematic here is that going with this narrative, continuing this narrative, especially when people associate these news channels with specific parts of the party, right? MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, right? Um, and it damages them. They can't do those narratives, right? So continue without subscribing. But it's just insane, man. You just can't keep it up. Johnny loves TikTok now. I heard that he created a TikTok account, and then people have been cloning him and making fake ones, and that his real one hasn't put out a lot except for one thing, and then we'll talk about that in a moment because Amber Heard decided to comment on some shit and make a statement, and she may have defamed Johnny again. But I'm trying to have serious conversation and not cover celebrity news because that shit doesn't mean much in the grander scheme of things. Amber Heard's the Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing sort of does because of its effect on the Me Too movement and believe all women with no proof situation, which I think is important for us to discuss and deal with. But this is just, it's a distraction from, we're literally facing record levels of inflation. A person who 2 weeks ago said we were fine and, you know, there's nothing to worry about, it's fine here. Like, you just think of the dog with the world on fire around him and just everything's fine, right? And we were like, and then as soon as the media is hyped up around other things and focused on all these shootings, there's all these important things that are happening on the scene. And I am not saying that these shootings are being staged by the U.S. government. That's not what I'm saying at all. I want to be very clear. I'm saying that they tend to use the cover of larger media issues to make difficult statements or produce news. And, oh, yeah, we talked about that. Don't y'all remember? Well, no, because you guys were covering 6 other fucking shootings at the time in 24-hour coverage, and a 5-second blurb didn't register in anybody's brain. So in no way am I going with that conspiracy theory. So... That's awesome. Hell yeah. She went out of her way to talk about his TikTok and she was like, oh, I just want it to stop. Well, you shat in the bed now. Exactly. So, go ahead. I don't know what's going on with Brad and Angelina J. I don't have any idea and I don't give a shit. I want to talk about the things that our media has not been covering, and this is the things that our media has not been covering. They're covering stuff that literally is feeding a frenzy for them. But here's the biggest thing, guys, and here's what really upset me. The Democrats' primetime drama January 6th committee hired a former ABC News executive who ran Nightline to they hired a TV producer for the January 6th committee hearings. They're literally going to make this into a fucking media clown circus. So the Capitol Riot Committee, Democrats, through the objections of the Republicans, recruited ex-ABC News president James Goldston to make their presentation into, and I quote from a memo, in a memo to him from the Democrats, a blockbuster investigative special. Guys, our government committees, especially investigative ones, are supposed to be fucking boring. They are not supposed to be investigative specials, blockbuster investigative specials. They are very serious things, and they are making a political fucking circus out of it. This is the problem. This shit right here. This on the screen right here. This shit is a problem. And it doesn't matter if it was the Democrats or the Republicans. Either one doing this shit, fucking problem. Yeah, exactly. God, where there's so much going on in the world and the media is just like, hey, look, a puppy. Exactly. Like this shit. They're literally making TV out of a serious hearing that can have serious consequences. This is a congressional hearing. It's supposed to be serious, fair, and decorum. It isn't supposed to be like, tonight we're going to talk about blah because they could have taken away your freedom. Like, bro, feel free. That's why you have a wrench. If you feel someone has a problem, like warn them, try to give them a warning, but clearly he's just here to be a douche. So Also, guys, I want to be very clear. The video that I produced in the bottom left corner is copyrighted, and if you use it as your picture without my permission, I have the right to sue you. So I am producing the content in the bottom left and on the borders, and using my picture or likeness is illegal because this is content I've produced, and you're not allowed to use it without my permission or adding something to it that makes it fair use, like commentary, like what we're doing right now. So, so what?
I said commentary or critique, like not just like posting
or
it
something,
around
or
without
something.
adding anything to it.
Yeah, exactly. Or something newsworthy is something that adds value or contributes to the content in a meaningful way. But guys, like the panel's first hearing is set to begin Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The first of 6 hearings where lawmakers will seek to contextualize the riot and Donald Trump and his allies' wider efforts to overturn the 2020 elections. Evidence includes never-before-seen White House photos. Like, guys, this is not supposed to be a primetime TV special. This is supposed to be about the facts, not about scoring political points. They are so desperate. They are hiring literally TV producers to make this into a production, an entertainment and theatrical show, more so than a hearing. It's wrong. It is fucking wrong. That is not the purpose of our government. We are not here to produce political propaganda from one party or the other, period. Especially in a hearing. If they're on the floor and they're making their arguments and they want to score some political points while debating something on the floor, sure. This is an investigative panel. This is not open floor debate or back and forth. This is an investigative panel that's controlled by a single party that is oppressing the minority party, not giving them the same rights as they have, okay? Not allowing them to call witnesses, not approving their subpoenas, not allowing their witnesses in, not allowing their witnesses' testimony, right? They're providing a singular narrative, suppressing the opposite. This has never before happened in United States history, where one party has oppressed, even in the Clinton hearings, everything else. The Democrats still had subpoena power, still were able to bring forward their witnesses, all that stuff. This has not happened. Watergate, same thing. This has never happened in U.S. history where the minority party was not allowed. And it happened back when they were doing Russiagate too, which turned out to be false, by the way. But during Russiagate, they did the same thing to the Republicans. All right? Not allowing them to subpoena witnesses, not allowing them to bring witnesses forward, not allowing them to subpoena documents, not allowing them to enter evidence. It's insane. And what it is they're scared of the red wave that is coming. They know it's coming. If you look at it, literally every major early election that has happened has went in favor of Republicans, except in the most deeply seated blue areas. Places that were considered Democrat secure now have Republicans elected. And they're scared and they know it, and so they need theatrics. They need to up the ante. They need to get your attention. They need to get you focused. They need to get you scared. And we're the ones with the solutions. And those are the Republican bad men who want your children murdered and want to take your babies and overthrow your government. And force you to have children against your will. That's what they want to make it out to be. And they're making this litany of accusations that aren't true. We've already talked about Roe v. Wade. It doesn't mean that abortion is banned, and it doesn't mean that you can't have one. There will always be states and places you can have them in, and your state can never do anything about you traveling to another state to get one. Abortion pills still exist, and it's about the origination, not the place you take them. All right? We already talked about that this is literally hype around that. We talked about the gun rules. If you look at gun laws and where the strictest gun enforcement is, it is the place those are the places with the highest amount of gun violence. Why? Because you have disarmed the naturally law-abiding public, made them sheep, and given them to the wolves, because criminals don't give a fuck about gun laws. And that is quite clear if you look at New York, Chicago, or Baltimore. 3 of the cities with the most restrictive, also Washington, D.C., but it's literally right next to Baltimore. those are the cities with the most restrictive gun laws in America, and guess what? They have the highest murder rates and gun violence laws, gun violence of all cities in the United States. Exactly anybody who runs as independent can't win. It's ridiculous. I wish we would get rid of the two-party system. I agree with you, J Builds. Absolutely. Man, the bots are strong tonight. Thank you to all my mods for handling business. So, it's crazy. Who will win? I mean, the Big Ben doesn't have them hands, but what do I know? It is too divided. We've allowed them to polarize us, right? And so the 24-hour news cycle, and just getting tired of actually seeking out our own facts and not realizing that our major news corporations have become political machines, like clearly defined political lines, right? Have just become absolutely political machines, and allowing our indoctrination and then indoctrination of our children has created a level of polarization, because also you need to get headlines, you need to draw people in, and you don't do that with I don't want to say mediocre, but monotone headlines. Like, there may be evidence that there was an insurrection that happened on January 6th. That some people broke into the Senate building. No, violent January 6th insurrectionists tried to overturn election through violent means and breaking into the Senate. That's sensationalism. But sensationalism requires polarization, because you have to have a polarizing headline that's going to pull someone in one direction or the other. It's going to alienate someone, or it's going to include someone, right? And when one side includes someone, one party more, and another side, because they also are looking at, what's the available market? MSNBC already has this market, so Fox is going to go the opposite direction and try to take up the part of the market that they're alienating. And so it literally, the way that we are structured right now creates polarization, creates separation. We know from our conversations in our Discord and our conversations amongst ourselves that we have more in common than we do apart. But the only thing that seems to get focused on is the most divisive issues between us, and not the things we have in common. Most people think that voter ID, great idea. Everyone should have an ID. Why? Because it makes all forms of ID, supporting stuff to get your ID and then your actual ID, absolutely free. It's a requirement. It benefits poor people. Benefits them. And gives election security so people can feel safe and that their votes are valid and that their system isn't being manipulated. And I agree with that, J Build. I'm apparently a right-leaning centrist, but I don't think so. I mean, it is what it is. I've been pushed out of my party. It's that simple. Even my friend who is who is extremely progressive and liberal. He's a lawyer. He's like, yeah, the party has moved far left. It's becoming hard for me to tolerate some of the things they're talking about. And being a Democrat, like. An original Democrat, like, this authoritarian deal that they're on is just hard to swallow. Like, toe the line or get canceled or ostracized is just insane to me. That's authoritarianism. We've never been about authoritarianism, and it's sort of counterproductive to we fought with what used to be the real ACLU. They fought for the KKK and people like that to be able to say horrible things, because guess what? That needs to be preserved. The free speech needs to be able to be offensive, because sometimes the thing that is offensive is the thing that's right. The 1970s and 80s, the Stonewall riots, gay rights, that was considered offensive in the 70s and 80s to a majority of America. If we would have allowed people to trample on the First Amendment, that speech would have been squelched and you would have never had gay rights. Period. Same thing in the 50s and 60s for the movement of African Americans. To be able to the ACLU stood up for them because there were states that had groups that were oppressing their free speech. They were state groups that literally said, hey, this is a racial narrative and it needs to be removed, and they only did it to black people. Little known fact. It's insane. Yes, yes. The original Pride movement came from a riot. And I agree with the original Pride movement. And I know people who come from the original Pride movement. The Stonewall riots, that's what it was. And to all the people who are like, "Oh, why is it named after a Confederate general?" It's because it's from Stonewall Street. It was the club. It was the Stonewall Club on Stonewall Street in New York City. That's why. Who gives a fuck? Anyways, but yeah, they're churning it into theatrics, guys. They're scared. They're scared. And I'm sorry for anyone who disagrees with me, but I don't believe that the trans community. I think the trans community is doing damage to gay rights, gay and lesbian, bisexual rights. And so it's very hard for me to currently comment on that because I have a lot of friends who are gay. I have friends who are trans. And the thing that I've noticed about the trans that I see in all of these articles and spouting just the craziest fucking shit, none of the trans people I know believe that or are on board with that. And it's insane, okay? And again, it shows the hyperpolarization, but only one side or the other. Either the hyper, I don't believe any of it, or hey, you can be a fucking unicorn pygmy and identify as that. Like, that's the shit that's being shown. And everyone in the center, once again, is being left out. I believe every human being, no matter who you are, should have equal rights. If you want to marry a fucking shoe, you should be able to marry a fucking shoe. Okay? Period. You want to go marry a turkey? I'm cool. I don't give two fucks. Okay? What you do in your bedroom and what you do with your personal life is your personal life. What I have a problem with is when you are able to force your personal identity on me, and if I don't agree with it, you get to ostracize me, cost me my job, and kick me out of society.
I think the reason, like, how you were talking about, like, but like the media making it like all like not decisive, divisive. Like with that, there's that show that like people like are in love with objects, and like there's a whole show about it. Like it makes them like look weird and stuff like that.
Yeah, it turns them into a sideshow, a
Yeah,
spectacle. This is
I think that's a problem as well.
Yeah, it's literally creating spectacle for the purpose of clicks, views, and to get someone to agree with you, and gotcha points, and
it doesn't make sense because like you're never gonna see that person. You're never gonna be in a situation where you have to deal with that person. And even if you do, like, it's probably not. They're not going to be doing the thing that's on the show. So why does it matter what they do when you're not there?
Exactly. I don't give two shits. I believe that every human being should have the same rights no matter what, right? But no one should be forced to participate in someone else's identity or share their views or be ostracized. Period. Welcome back, LJ. So yeah. So multiple reports also signaled the Republicans are mounting a heavy counteroffensive to the prime time. Why are we talking about this like it's a fucking war? It's literally a spectacle. It is it's insane. And we have two different. You have the Republican Study Committee because they're basically squelching the Republicans. It's just sad. And then it's just insane. Like the news coverage is so partisan too. Like literally, it's bad when the Daily Mail, which is in the fucking UK, is covering. You know how many? Do you know how many actual sites are actually covering this as a main headline? or talking about how this is insane and is churning a serious issue into spectacle and political points. Why is a UK newspaper telling us this? Why the British, I was showing you guys on the BBC. The BBC may be left-leaning, but at least their shit yesterday when we were looking at it, their headlines made sense. The things they were talking about were integral and meaningful. Only one out of the 5 main headlines was something that was just about the royal family, which doesn't really fucking matter to UK life, okay? But 4 out of the 5 were integral and meaningful to the everyday British people and had some type of effect on their life or something that was going on with them. And we went and we looked at MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News, and all of their headlines were just political bullshit that doesn't really affect us. It's just meant to enrage and create polarization. Like, have you guys ever seen British tabloids? Like, why do our main news sources look like fucking British tabloids? Because that's what they look like right now. All right? You go look at the British tabloids, look at all 3 of those and look at their front pages and tell me what the difference is. It's fucking insanity. Agree, Jay. Totally cool with that. BBC is mostly government funded and can't upset pollies. I mean, they kind of go after the Tories quite often. So the Tories, by the way, for those who don't know UK politics, there are 2 major parties. There are many parties. They have a government where you have to like form a coalition, but their 2 major parties are the Tories and Labour right now, and the Tories are like the conservatives, and Labour is of course more like the social responsibility socialist part of their party. There's different parts within the party, of course, but that's that's mainly what I'm referring to. So, anyways, like we went through it yesterday, but this is the stuff they're not talking to you about, that they're planning on, like they're literally making spectacle out of it. And you'll see the left isn't really covering it, and neither is the center. And let me tell you, ground news, some of the things that they think are center leaning, I don't agree with, but it is what it is. I mean, it's ridiculous. You look here, CNN basically made it, and they put it all the way down on the bottom. Boris Johnson, yeah, well, exactly. And the day we were on it was the day he survived the no confidence vote, and they weren't being sensationalist. They stated the facts. It is what it is. CNN's James Jarrett blames 10-year Americans for Dems hiring TV executive. Even CNN's like, yo, y'all gotta chill. Like, y'all are. It's because you all want sensationalism and this. It needs to be spectacle and the clicks and everything else. And in an insight into the incestuous world of liberal media, Berman prefaced his questions with the full disclosure that he had worked for Goldson when the latter was an executive producer at Good Morning America and Nightline. So yeah, guys, it's insanity. It is insanity. Insanity, guys. Where has our country come to? And why are we now using the death of people that you didn't give 2 fucks about before? You know how many friends I've had die in shootings and gangland shootings? Like, guys, like I'm related to people, right? I'm not down with any gang. I don't bang, okay? But a lot of my friends, gang related, whether it's Royals or Crips. I chill mostly with Crips and people associated with the 6, right? But I got friends that are bounty hunter bloods. I got friends that are treetop pie rules. I know all these people. Like, I know these. You know how many times there's been shootouts in the neighborhoods? I'm literally on the block when I was in my 20s, smoking a blunt on the block in a place called Morningside here in Charlotte, right? Fucking bunch of dudes roll up, Shots start getting fired. Everybody's hitting the deck. There are kids playing in the courtyard. All right, when this shit happens, you know how many times I ended up on the news? Never. Unless somebody died and got shot and died. They didn't give two fucks. Right? My cousins that are up in Brooklyn, right? I call them my cousins. We aren't blood related, right? But I call them my cousins, right? Because we're like family. But they're a bunch of woos, right? Woos and shoes constantly shooting at each other in New York. You know how often that shit's covered? Never. Unless it kills some random civilian and it's a slow day. That shit doesn't get covered because it's poor people shooting poor people. Right? They don't give a damn about gangland violence. They exclude it from the FBI statistics and mass shootings. If we included that, the place that has the most mass shootings on almost a weekly basis, actually daily basis when it's the weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, mass shootings every day. Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, Los Angeles.
Summertime it's gonna go up too.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna be out.
Yeah. It's never fucking covered. I know my B's and C's, man. I know the stacks. I've lived this life. I've been a part of this culture, right? I've done what I've had to do to survive as a kid who grew up in the system, right? Without a proper family, without parents. I've been there. I've watched my friends die. I came back home to one of my friends is in prison for life for shooting two cops in the back of the head, and his brother is dead because he was killed in a gangland type shooting, and they came after the people. There was revenge. Cops came after those people. Some of those cops then met his sister. There's a whole thing, but I'm telling you, I know some real motherfuckers, and that's the life I come from, and so, the media didn't give a shit about us until it's a political pawn for them. The only time we get coverage is when they want to pass some new gun law, or some kids, or they want to pass some, or Republicans want to pass some new anti-gang law and appear tough on crime and enforcing law. You don't give a shit about us, right?
It's only relevant if it's push the message.
Yep, exactly. Whatever message they're on at the moment in order to win their constituency. They don't give a fuck about us, man. Right? You know what's killing most of my friends? It ain't guns anymore. It's drugs. The opiates. Fentanyl. All that shit. Why? Because people can't get appropriate medical care, and they're miserable between mental health and actual pain issues. Yo.
Health facilities feel more like a jail than a treatment center.
Exactly. And we treat these people and then we monetize it where we have pain clinics that are literally just fucking pill mills. They aren't actually managing pain. They're just giving them dope legally and making money off of it. Yeah, that's real healthy. We need to come together, guys, because this can't continue. And that's the whole point is we can agree, no matter which side you're on, that we need to address the mental health issue in America. We need to address that pain management or management of opiate addiction is basically just giving you more opiates and keeping you addicted and people making money off of it, except now it's legal, right? We can address that. We can address that incarceration is far too high for drug offenses and there's not enough treatment and it's literally just a complex. We can address that. And there's common agreement on both sides amongst this that we can have criminal justice and bail reform, that our system is currently broken. We sentence people to far too long of sentences, that there should be no such thing as life in prison except for the most heinous of crimes or just people who are just not unreformable, right? We can agree on this. It's that mental health facilities need to be appropriately funded, that we need to appropriately fund our ATF, that we need to enforce the gun laws that we currently have, that we need to allow the mental health system to be properly integrated to the ATF and staff that part of the ATF to stop people with mental health issues that have been diagnosed by their doctors or forcefully committed, okay, from getting firearms. But they can't do that unless they have funding. Why? Because it is a political football for both sides. It has to stop. this constant theater in our politics, because you know what, they're not just creating theater out of politics, they're creating theater out of us. We are their puppets. We are doing the dance around their laws and around their agendas. They're supposed to work for us. Our government is supposed to work for us. And it's about time we made it do that. And if they're not going to do that, then we kick them out of office. And if they don't want to change their policies, then we take over their parties. And we go to the ballot box and we make ourselves heard. And don't think that one person doesn't make a difference, because one person that doesn't think they have one vote makes a difference, and then that comes out to 20, 30, 40,000 votes, they absolutely does make a difference. You can literally fuck some shit up just by putting a check mark on a piece of paper, putting out a commercial, working together, $5, $1 a piece. 20,000 people put $5 into a pot, guys. That's considerable. That's $100,000. You know how much airtime that buys you in a local election? Pay attention to your local elections. Pay attention to not what just they're saying on their stump and their speech notes, but look at their voting record. What have they actually done? There's tons of data out there. Get involved. And if you see someone, if your local politician is just spouting rhetoric towards the other side and not suggesting solutions, then fucking call them out on it and point out to your friends that that's what they're doing. And hold your friends accountable to what they say and what they do. You want the divisiveness to stop? Stop allowing people to support divisive fucking candidates. Stop buying into the divisiveness, the sensationalism that comes from that. That's just meant to sell you something. They're selling you a political point of view, and you don't even realize it, because people want to agree with the people around them that they relate to. They want to be included. They want to feel as if they're a part of something. And you have to break that cycle in order to do this. And it's fucking ridiculous. We cannot keep this up as an American society and be a productive country. We have to unpolarize. We have to come together, and we have to realize we need to solve the issues we have in common, and then deal with the other issues that are more divisive between us. We cannot continue the paralyzation of our lawmaking bodies. We cannot continue to paralyze our country. We cannot continue to create deficit spending and spend money we don't have. We cannot continue this. We are creating an insurmountable debt for the generations in front of us. We need to know what our budget contains, what we are funding. There should be sunsets to laws. There should be sunsets to funding to programs that are funded, and they have to be reapproved and actually looked at inside of committee in more than just 5 seconds, and then they're just approved in some giant 5,000-page budget. Laws should be written in common fucking English. There's no reason that they shouldn't be. Period. It's insanity. And we need to make it so that independent candidates can actually be successful, because right now, both parties are just two wings of the same fucking bird. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. None of them represent us once they get in there. They say some nice things that make us feel good, right? And the other does something stupid that makes us vote for the other side because we're trying to choose the difference of two evils. But if we actually made it where independent candidates could actually be successful, we can make a difference.
Yeah. I told you before, as long as the voting system stands as it is today, this is never gonna happen.
And that's the attitude I want to break. We can make it happen. A movement starts with a pin. A movement starts with a pin drop.
Thing is, it's easier to change a voting system than to convince more than half of the US to vote for a third candidate.
See, but that's the thing. Neither party will do that. And we have to find candidates that are willing to do that, because it's against their self-interest. We need to find candidates that will actually do what's best for the American people, not what's best for them. And I'm talking about in general. And I don't mean to get on my soapbox. I get really passionate about this, but it's just, it has to stop. We should not have incarceration for the rest of someone's natural life, okay? Except if they're like some heinous serial killer or serial rapist, okay?
But still,
at the same time,
it's just unrealistic to say you can just vote for a new third candidate in your current system.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying find the
Yeah,
candidate that's part of the party that is actually standing by and doing what they say, not just what they're stumping, and they go to Washington and do something different. And then they straighten up right before the elections, and then we vote for them again. We have to be more responsible as Americans because we're so fucking lazy when it comes to our political candidates. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be insulting to my fellow Americans, but we are. You have people who are voting for candidates just because of their party and have no idea what they have done or what they actually stand for.
thing
I've
is,
lit-
you need
Yes, sir.
more than two parties, and for more than two parties to be able to form, you need a different voting system where one vote counts one vote and not like states shit, calculation, math, advanced science shit.
So that's where I disagree with you. That's a
know we had
that's a
this
national.
thing
So we've
before,
had
and
this conversation before, and we
yeah, and
know
I
we
still
strongly
don't get
disagree.
I
I
still
think there's
don't
other
get
ways.
it.
Yeah.
Which ways?
I think that you can still keep states' rights and keep states' individualism, which sort of allows us to. If you don't like the laws, and that's like the abortion argument, right? If you don't like the abortion stance and it's that make or break for you in the state you're in, you can always move to a different one. It's getting so divided that we have to come together or things will end in another civil war. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Northern.
To abolish states for that, you just need this one factor needs to be changed, the voting system. Nothing
No, because
else.
then you're going to have mob rule, and the whole point of states individualism was because this is why it's hard, because I understand that self-determination is not as gigantic of a social precept in a monocultural society that it's going to be hard for me to convey to you. So the idea, okay, so just around me, I know just around me right now, there are 5 people within 100 feet of me right now. All of us have different cultural and political perceptions, okay? And different cultural backgrounds and heritages, all right? You don't have that in Austria, all right? Self-determination is important because I don't want any one group to pull me in a direction I don't want to go, because it doesn't match my culture, it doesn't match my beliefs, and it doesn't match my belief system, all right? What you're describing absolutely works for places like Norway, Sweden, Austria. Name any of the countries that have hundreds of years of culture and they're kind of monocultural. Poland, Slovakia, Lithuania.
What about the EU? The EU has the same voting system as every.
I think the EU is an abomination. So, the EU is trying to force multiple cultures onto one thing. And guess what? When you tried to do it to the UK and to Poland, they told you to fuck off. Why? Because
no one wanted the UK to leave.
You said what?
The UK left on their own, didn't they?
Yeah, I know why, but do you remember why the UK left on their own? The UK left because they felt the EU was interfering in their sovereignty. All right, which is the same way that states feel with the federal government. All right, the thing is that you can have an overarching piece that is like a commonality for federalism, right? Because that's what it is. The EU is the beginning of federalism for the European nations. Okay, it's basically the beginning of the United States, except for the European states. All right, but having that state individuality, if you start interceding on, okay, for example, North Carolina. Dude, you try to take away our barbecue and say it's unhealthy, fuck you. That's not going to happen. All right?
Look, all I'm saying is, even if you don't change it so that you have one vote, at least it would already help to.
So when you're saying one vote, you mean where there's no electoral college, that is popular vote determines everything.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so the problem with that is that
yeah,
neglects minorities. Okay. The majority would basically dictate everything, and the minority would never matter.
That's what democracy means.
No, that's mob rule. There are multiple forms of democracy. Example: we are in a constitutional republic that uses democratic voting, democratically based voting.
At least make
I don't know what that is, Jay.
What am I talking? One change that would already help would be that you have these states. Which states? How is it working? The states are voting, and the majority counts for the whole state. It's like that, isn't it?
You said, go ahead, say that again. I'm sorry, I was reading something to understand it.
Everybody in a single state votes, and the majority in that state counts for the whole state.
So that they do have some states that are like that. Some states actually do that. Actually, a majority of states, that all of their delegates go to the candidate that wins the popular vote in that state. Right? There are very few states that don't do that, and the states that don't do that actually are such a minority and have so few electoral college representatives. So the electoral college represents. So here's why illegal immigration is a big deal here. If you account illegal immigrants as citizens of a state, that can change the electoral map, where non-citizens who aren't taking part in the social contract and making contributions all of a sudden get to affect how many delegates a state has. And it is considerable, especially in places like California, Texas, New York, and Florida. That it can affect the electoral college map, and that's why people who don't understand why illegal immigration is such a big deal and why people are so upset over it, it's because it can affect electoral maps, and then people who literally aren't held to a social contract can just go home anytime, don't have any real social fabric responsibilities to America, can just come in and affect our voting rights. Now, they do keep our social security system alive, which I'm thankful to them for. But other than that, they don't have, they're not entered into the social contract that is what citizenship is.
Yeah, what I was saying.
But at the end of the day, that's how most states are, and it's why. But it also creates its own issues. So what you're describing is something we already have.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But if 100, the majority in a state wins 100% of this state. And then all the states get combined, and then you have a winner for the whole nation.
So I'm sort of torn between. I think that your delegates should be representative of the counties that won, because of how counties work and how counties are supposed to work and how sheriffs are supposed to work, and some constitutional issues there. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but the thing is, with this logic, for a third party to rise, it has to even show up on the voting results. It needs to win in at least one state. And how is a party gonna win in a state if it has never even been elected?
Exactly. That's why I think that you should have. So we have counties, right? And counties really, they did. So counties usually report that they won by whatever candidate, right? So the counties, so independents do win counties, but they don't always win the state, and so they're never reflected, so people don't know they exist, and that's the problem I have with the system that you're. So I thought you were advocating for that system, and I was trying to find a nice way to not have a 2.5 hour long conversation around it. But no, I believe that delegates should be representative of the counties won. So if I win 10 counties out of 100, then I get 10% of the delegates, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying the whole time.
Okay, so yeah. Okay, well, we just had a minor miscommunication. I thought you said that the whole overall winner takes all. I don't like that system, and I find it problematic. There's a lot of things we could do to improve our system as far as delegates, it shouldn't be winner takes all. That way, third parties can actually have a say and have an effect inside of our voting systems. Jay Bills, I'll have to check out the Westminster voting system. That is interesting. I started to look at it. It's I just don't have time to look through an entire voting system live here on stream. But guys, this has to end. Using people's lives like this really bothers me. I've lost a lot of friends to gun violence. One of my friends was literally shot to death on fucking Snapchat. Okay? The person Snapchatted him shooting my friend to death. Okay? It was used as social media fodder for someone to get fucking street cred, okay? This shit hits close to home for me. And to use gangland violence and all of a sudden you give a shit about us because we're convenient to you when you didn't give a fuck about us literally 2 months ago pisses me off. I have lost in the last 10 years since I was 26. Let's include 25 because that was a bad year. I've lost 11 friends to gun violence. 11. Like close friends. I'm not counting distant associates, nothing. Out of the original 9 friends of mine from back when I was a kid that ran the streets, only me and one other person are still alive. Every last one of them have died to gun violence except for 2. Right? So 5 out of the 7 that were like the core of our like the group I hung out with. 2 of us are alive. 2 of them died of drugs, and the other 5 died of gun violence. You know how many of their deaths were in the news? 0. Not a goddamn one. 2 of them died at the same time in the same shootout. So that's all I gotta say. It just is what it is. This they didn't give a fuck about us until we're a political tool, and I can't stand that. It is what it is, North. It's the life we live. It's what we expect. See, that's just what that gangster shit is. When you come from the streets and you run the streets and you do street shit, you end up dead in the street. Because the streets, you either use the streets and get the fuck out, or the streets will take care of you on their own. No one survives out there.
That's like that one Tupac song.
What?
What's the name of it? Let me see if I can put it up.
I mean, and that's the thing, like, I have...
The Changes song.
Oh, it changes, yeah. It's still fucked up, I know. I agree with you. But we need to stop letting them use us as a political pawn, because they didn't give a fuck about us 2 months ago, when it was inconvenient for them to talk about their statistics. So, In the Ghetto by Elvis. In the ghetto. All I can think about is Cartman singing that now. All right, moving on, guys. All right, enough serious political shit, guys. We're coming up towards the end of the 2 hours. I'm gonna take a quick break, and then we'll go through our conclusion. We will be right back. I just really have to use the restroom. I think my kidney stone shifted, and we'll be right back, and we'll go through our conclusion and go from there. I appreciate all of you. Catch you in a minute.
They're saying they can't hear you.
So, in conclusion, guys, I just want to wrap this up and talk to you guys really quickly about where we sit. The Democrats are going to use this as a political sideshow and a spectacle, and it's sad. All I want you guys to do is pay attention to who you're voting for. Know who you're voting for. Know what's going on in the world around you and be informed. Don't get distracted by all these headlines in the 24-hour media cycle and the divisiveness of here. Our politicians are there to solve problems. If the politician is doing nothing but blaming the other side and saying they're a problem or talking about banning things, they're not proposing real solutions. We need politicians who are going to propose real solutions and actually go and uphold what they talk about, right? Not blame the other side. That doesn't do anything. Our politicians are meant to help us solve the problems with our nation and do so through legislation. And if they're not proposing to do that, don't vote for that person. And shame these people for churning serious congressional inquiries and other things into just political sideshows. It's wrong. It's not what it was meant for. And no matter which side does it, they should be held accountable. I don't care which side you're on. Make sure that the people you're voting for have actual solutions, that they actually have meaningful agendas, and that they're not just feeding more of this divisive bullshit. It has to stop, and it's the only way it's going to stop. So notice when the media starts paying attention to things they didn't care about before, and understand that what the thing they're doing it about right now is exceptionally sensitive to those of us who have lived through it. Those of us who have lived through street violence know how it feels to feel ignored by our system, because we feel ignored constantly. We felt ignored, and we are ignored because it doesn't matter to them until it's politically profitable for them on both sides. And to do that, we need to affect change. It's that simple. Or else we're going to end up in another civil war. And I'm not the only person who feels this way. Both people on the left and the right believe that it's coming. There's been strong polls about people believe that the only way forward may be through armed conflict in the near future, and that they feel it's coming. And I don't want to see us get there. I love each and every last one of you. No matter how much we disagree, we agree on a lot of things. And we need to stop letting the extremes represent us. And we need to be more vocal. And when you hear your friends or other people around you promoting extremist views or trying to silence others, that's bad. Right now in America, we have a party that says they care about the minority, that they care about minorities and people having a voice. Yet they're willing to silence the minority that's right there on the same committee with them just because they disagree with them politically. That's not how minority representation happens. Either you believe that all minorities should have a voice no matter whether they agree with you or not, or you don't. You can't have it both ways. But anyways, guys, make sure you decide whether you're a top or a bottom, and make sure you get that Burger King Pride Burger. I love each and every last one of you. You guys are great. No matter what, remember, you have intrinsic value just by being alive. I love each and every one of you. Have a great night. I'm going to sign off of here. You guys can catch me in the Discord afterwards. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you, and peace.
Who's still alive?
I can't. I don't have separate desktop audio from the outro. So, just give me a second. I got to separate the Discord channel, and I didn't have time to do that for today's show. Windows 11 merged all my audio streams back together. yeah, we're live for 4 minutes and 17 seconds.